Hey guys, how's it going? Kripparrian here. Today I want to give you guys a bit of a discussion on what's going on in Arena. I've talked about the current situation in Arena a couple of weeks ago, largely as a result of what's been going on, the ridiculous system that we had that led people to have constant decks filled with cards like Spike Ridge Steeds, like Blizzard, and overall it was not a very fun environment for Arena. Since then we had a hotfix that made it so the really powerful cards show up slightly less often in the more powerful classes like Paladin and Rogue, and I thought this wasn't really much. Like, I would play Arena after the hotfix, and I'd still play against Paladins with like 3 Spike Ridge Steeds. But I gave it a chance with any kind of change in Hearthstone. Getting a first impression is certainly valuable, but your first impression can be wrong, and my impression, I think, was actually quite wrong. And here's why. I've been really surprised on the impact of the most recent balance changes in Arena. Now, there's certainly still a lot of things wrong with Arena, but Arena right now is a lot of fun to play, and the player who is more informed at the very least, who plays a little bit better, will actually win a lot of the time. And that is certainly new, and all of that comes as a result of these new systems and as a result of a lot of classes being playable. So first I want to show you guys largely where this is coming from. If you guys have played Hearthstone for any reasonable amount of time, you would know there's some classes that are really good in any game mode and some classes that really suck. So typically we have a system where people play just a very few classes at the top. So here you can see the breakdown in Standard. There's about a 10% win spread between the top and the bottom classes overall across all ranks. So it's pretty substantial. You're probably a fool not to be playing Paladin, but maybe you know better and there's a few decks you like to play instead. So fair enough, I guess. But you get the idea. I think the current balanced situation in Standard is very typical. This is what we usually see in Hearthstone at any given time. Now, if we go to Wild, it's a little bit worse than that, but, they don't really take into account Wild balance changes very much, so it's somewhat understandable. It's like a 13 or 14% spread. Pretty massive, by the way, pretty massive, but still, that's what it is. But if we take a look at Arena, look at that. That is fascinating. We have Rogue and Paladin at the top, tied at the top, and they are merely 2% better than basically all the other classes. Honestly, if you take away Hunter, and really I think people don't enjoy playing Hunter very much. If you take away Hunter, it's a 4% spread across the top 8 classes. It's less than 5%, even if you include Hunter. I've looked at a lot of statistics over Hearthstone's history, and I don't think we've ever had any game mode at any point that was as balanced in terms of class balance as Arena is this very moment. So the fact that you can play whatever class you want and still do pretty damn well is great. With the last set of hotfixes, they did not change the fact that you are getting the same cards constantly. So honestly, I think there's a lot of room for Arena to improve, but the fact that Arena is so unbelievably well balanced right now, yes, every Paladin is going to try to get the same deck, and the Paladins past 5 wins, they are going to have the same deck. And it might not be a lot of fun to play against them, but since these balance changes, you're actually going to play a lot of classes besides Paladin at high wins, besides Rogue at high wins, besides Mage at high wins, because they're making it, because the decks are pretty good. So while the decks still lack diversity, you're still chasing, 2, 3, 4 Spike Ridge Steeds. You're probably getting, on average, half less Spike Ridge Steed per Paladin draft right now than before the last round of hotfixes. Not a huge change. Honestly, when you get north of like 7 wins, it seems the decks are exactly the same as before the last hotfix. But what you do see is more classes, and you see a lot more diversity, you see a lot more cards, just because people are playing more classes because they can. Right? So I've actually played Paladin very little this month. Very little. I don't know if it's my least played class. It's probably Hunter. I'm not even sure I played Hunter. But there's a good chance Paladin is my second least played class. And I'm averaging right now over 8 wins this month over like 33 arenas. So I'm doing really, really well. And I'm literally not playing the top class in Arena right now. I don't have to. You don't have to play the best class in Arena, and you can still have fun, and you can still put up some really good results. What I talked about, a lot of the best cards in Constructed constantly being offered in Arena, that is largely offset by the fact that we're actually seeing unbelievably even class distribution in terms of Arena. So it's actually pretty fun. But it's also really important to know how the drafting system works. It's really important to know what you will be up against. And that is the kind of like the part 2 of Arena right now. There's a lot of people that play the traditional version of Arena, and like those, just a few weeks ago, I was at a pretty big disadvantage. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was probably averaging around 6, maybe peaking at 7 from time to time, week by week, but I was considering my opponent's card frequency as it was in the past. And then a lot of people are in that mindset, and a lot of those people, you will crush them if you have information and I guess you can call it skill on your side this time around. A lot of people don't know that cards like Blizzard are literally in every mage deck. So let's just have a look at the top occurring cards for mage so I can illustrate what I'm talking about. So this is off Hearthstone replay here. You can see 62% of mage decks have on average of 1.4 blizzards. So that's a lot of blizzards. That is roughly one blizzard in every mage deck. So should you play around Blizzard when you're playing a mage? Yes. You should play around Blizzard all the time. You should consider that your opponent, who might be playing mage, will have Blizzard in his hand almost at all times. And if you do that, you'll actually win a lot more. Now, this is different than a lot of people might know. This is certainly different from a few months ago's version of Arena where maybe 10, maybe 15% of decks had Blizzards. Right now, every deck has a Blizzard. Just about every deck also has a Flame Strike. We see Arcane Intellect really, really high up there. We see Explosive Runes in that list and no other secret anywhere near it. So basically, when you see your mage opponent playing a secret, it's no longer, well, it's probably Mirror Entity because it's the best common secret and the other secrets are rare. No. If they play a secret, it's most likely Explosive Runes, because that's just a card that Blizzard has chosen for us to play with. So while the system that leads up to this is kind of dumb, and I explained that in other videos, it is very important to know these numbers and understand them and play Arena, get some experience behind them. And once you have all of that, you're going to know what's going on. And that is really important. And most people playing Arena right now do not know this, do not know what's going on. They're not playing around these cards. You see how common Frostbolt is? You see how common Meteor is? You certainly have to account for Meteor. Yet, look how low Fireball is on the list. Polymorph is not even on the list. Right now, silence removal doesn't actually exist in Arena, except for Shaman, and Shaman is a little bit lower on the win records, so it's actually not a very common class. So cards like, the Violet Worm are actually very powerful. So a lot of that comes together with learning these numbers, getting that experience in, and just playing through it. The reality of Arena right now is there are an unbelievable amount of board clears. There are a lot of answers, but the answers are damage based. They're hardly ever silence removal based, so anything that has an on-death effect is still very powerful. And there's a lot of taunts in Arena right now, so whenever you think you might be setting up lethal, your opponent will probably find a way to get themselves out of that situation. And that means that you shouldn't go all in to set up lethal unless you're extremely desperate. And a lot of these other things you'll pick up on as you play. But it's very important that you do. It's very important that you do play, that you understand how this works. And I also think it's important because the classes are so even that you try out some of the middle classes. Paladin is like 2% higher win rate than basically almost all the other classes except Rogue, of course. But everybody knows what to expect from a Paladin deck. Everybody knows that they're going to have to play around Spike Ridge Steed all the time. Everybody knows that they're going to get Silver Sworded or True Silvered when the Mana Crystal turns 4 or 8. So players know how to play against Paladin really well, but actually players have not picked up on how to play against Druid very well, how to play against Warlock very well. I'm showing you guys the mage list here in this video, but do you know the most common Priest cards? No, you probably don't. You might actually be surprised to learn that while Priest gets a lot of board clears in terms of Holy Novas and Spirit Lashes, a Psychic Scream is actually an extremely rare Priest card from my experience and from what I've seen in the statistics. So it's a lot of that comes together, and right now it's kind of like a hidden golden age of Arena, while again certainly a lot of things can be greatly improved. The fact that through this new bucket system or whatever However, they were actually able to manipulate it in a way that the classes are so unbelievably well balanced. We have a place in Arena that's actually really fun to play, where the player with experience and knowledge on his side will win vastly more than those without it. So the better player wins, and you can play whatever class you want right now in Arena. So I'd love to play with crappier cards, Blizzard. I would love to play Paladin without Spike Ridge Steeds. But you know what? We basically have everything else that we asked for in terms of Arena. I think it's important that you guys realize that, especially on this channel, because I certainly do my fair share of trash talking when Blizzard screws up Arena. And trust me, they've certainly screwed up Arena in the past. But right now, it's a great time to play, and I certainly don't want you guys to miss out on it. If you've ever loved playing Arena, if you've ever wanted to have an opportunity to have more knowledge, more information, and outplay your opponents, right now is the time for that. So, hope you guys enjoy my talk. Hope you guys are enjoying Arena as much as I am. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.